Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Marc Summe on the line, and he's CEO over at Minute 7. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Glad to be here.
All right, so excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to talk a little bit more about tracking time and expenses for billing for business owners. But before we get into that, let's just go a little bit further into what you're doing over at Minute 7. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So Minute 7 is a software company. And our customers are professional services firms. So we focus, we have thousands of users, but if you were to break them down into buckets, who we're serving is largely, professional services, and that's kind of a generic term. But what that translates to is, a lot of consultants, a lot of law firms, a lot of architecture firms, a lot of engineering services type firms. Those are the people that we're helping, and how we're helping them is how those people, one of the needs that they have for their business is they need to track time and expenses to specific customers and jobs to get paid. So what Minute 7 does is we allow them, when they're doing work, they can easily, enter time in our software, associate it with the appropriate customer or job, and then take that data and create an invoice very quickly and easily. So, if you were to back away from it a little bit, the way that we really try to think about Minute 7 is what we're doing is we're helping professional services firms get paid faster. And we do that by allowing them to, quickly create a timesheet or create an expense entry and then get back to work. So that's what we do.
I mean, you're doing something right there, that's for sure, and certain, because you doubled revenue in the last year. I mean, you guys are growing like crazy. That being said, where do you find, I mean, now like you mentioned, you've over 1,000 users, or that being said, where do you find a lot of professional service companies in this space are kind of going wrong or making errors, or let's say they have opportunity errors prior to working with Minute 7? Because there's some people out there listening to this right now, just so you know, Marc, that don't know they need Minute 7. They're like, wait, well,
right.
We got it all under control, but they don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So what are some of those errors that people that are listening right now are making?
Sure. So I think what people, don't necessarily, it's not inherently something that you realize until, and there's typically a breaking point, but when firms are growing, when they have one employee, maybe they're just tracking their time on a spreadsheet or on paper, and then they're having to manually input that data into some system like QuickBooks for billing. And so they just sort of set up that process, right? And they're doing it, and then they add another employee, and they add another employee, and before you know it, they have 10 employees, and they're still tracking time and expenses in a spreadsheet or on paper, and then manually inputting that data into QuickBooks. And what they don't realize is just how much time that's taking and how valuable their time is, right? Like if you think about a lawyer, for example, a lawyer is billing their customers, a good lawyer would be billing their customer, hundreds of dollars an hour. So if they're spending hours every week managing spreadsheets and paper and inputting it into some system for invoicing, that's really valuable time that they're spending on really low value tasks. So we help them, shorten that administrative work that they're doing, or even their bookkeepers doing, from, hours a week to minutes in a week.
Man, I love that. And it makes sense. You're saving them time, and that time can be used for other things other than their input. I love it. It makes perfect sense. And I figured that's what it was. It becomes like that. Well, you started, maybe it was just you and your partner, and it took no time at all. It's like, it took us 5 minutes. We don't have to worry about software. We don't have to worry about all this other stuff. It's no big deal. But then you start growing, and before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, it's taking us half a day now. This is ridiculous.
Right.
There's got to be a better way. It's like you didn't know it kind of creeped up on you. What would you say is that? I mean, what's that sweet spot for the people listening that are typically a good fit for Minute 7 as a client?
Sure. So I mean, we have small customers, and then we have what probably would be considered like medium-sized customers. So we have a lot of solo entrepreneurs that are a consultant or a law firm, an architect, and that's great too. I mean, if you're spending an hour by yourself tracking time, and we can do it for a minute, that's saving you a lot of time. But on the larger side,
it's even more important for the solopreneur. You're out there and you're undercapitalized, or if you're, and I know you bootstrapped this company, so I know you know about time. It's even more important. You want to buy every hour you can back. Please go ahead. I had to bring that out.
No, it's true. It's when you're starting out, you're doing everything yourself, so you want to try and find software to leverage yourself to do more things. But yeah, I mean, so that's on the low end, and then the higher end, our largest customer is hundreds of users. So we're able to service a pretty wide spectrum of customers, but the value that we're delivering is still the same. It's just you could imagine how much time we're saving a company that has 200 employees that are entering time in our system. And for them, it's often workflow process too for the larger customer. So in addition to being able to track time, we also have like an approval process. So you can customize it. If you have team leads, you can designate who can approve, which employees' time and expenses. So you have some number of employees entering time and expense, and then you have managers, reviewing and approving those items, and then creating invoices from there. So it gets a little bit more, our product, is able to scale as the business does. So we're able to create different features to help those larger customers still, very efficiently track their time and expense.
Man, that's exciting. So Marc, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on Minute 7, what's the best way for them to connect with the brand?
Sure. So we have a website. If you go there, minute7.com, we list all the features that we offer. And then you also, with that site, there's an ability to schedule a one-on-one demo. I often do a lot of the demos. So if you click on that, you're likely to get a demo with me or one of my teammates. But that's probably the best way to learn, is just to go to our site. And then if you'd like to, have someone walk you through it, we're happy to do that. We love talking about our software with our customers or potential customers, and you can click on the website to schedule a demo.
Man, that's awesome. Well, Marc, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over there to help our entrepreneurs, both the solopreneurs out there and the big companies. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. I mean, love to know what kind of projects and things you're working on, and don't forget, and take the conversation over to the YouTube community. And Marc, thanks again for coming on the show.